Welcome back to the Weekend Warrior Show Recap Podcast. I'm Tyler from the Unemployed Architects. This week I'm going to be talking about my shows at Houdinis Spirits in LeRoy. That would have been Friday, and then Saturday I played at Braize in Bloomington, and then we had a Sunday show as well. It was a Labor Day party, one we've done almost every year for probably the last 7 or 8 years. It was up in Blackstone, Illinois, which is a little bit north of Pontiac, between kind of Odell and Cornell. So it was a tiny town, but big farmland and lots of good people. So that was the Sunday show. It was a long weekend with it being Labor Day. I know it's been a little while since I've released a podcast, but that's because I've been working on, we had the Colorado tour, and I did the podcast for that, but I'm doing something a little different for that. Since there was so much going on and we got lots of good video footage, I'm doing like a little podcast documentary, or pod doc as I'm deeming it. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but anyway, so I got the podcast part of it done, but now I'm just have to edit the video part into the audio. So it'll be at least give you something to look at and give you a kind of an idea for how the tour was and everything, at least give you a little bit of a idea anyway. So that's why it's taken me a little bit longer to release the one from last week. But so this week we played at Houdinis on Friday. That was it was an okay show. Not my favorite show probably, but that's I tried a new setup, which I don't know why I have to try a new setup at every place I play to see what kind of works. But I did one mic with Lo and I, and then Dave played. And so it was just one mic for me and Lo to share. So it was like pretty hard to hear. I think Dave probably brought a little bit too much. So he didn't even know we were going to do that setup. So, I mean, he just brought what he normally does. But I ended up and was not really a fan. It was hard to get comfortable pretty much all night, and I don't usually do that setup indoor unless it's just Lo and I and a pretty quiet place. So it was an experiment for sure, and I mean by the end of the show it was kind of more comfortable and stuff, but I still kind of had to oversing a little bit more than I would have liked. No foot drums, obviously, because that would have made it even more of a mess as far as the sound goes. It was just really loud in there, so it was really hard to hear ourselves. But that again was my mistake. I brought the one mic set up, so crowd was okay. It wasn't spectacular like the last time we played there, but it wasn't like nobody. So I mean, it was kind of in between. And it was kind of a good warm-up show for the rest of the weekend. But, I mean, it was fine. I don't think it was our best or our worst there. So then Saturday we played at Braize, which was a lot of fun because I brought one of my good friends from Pontiac, Ryan Wolf, out. And he played during our breaks and stuff. So that made it a lot of fun. And there was also a young lady that was there, pretty much her and her mom were there just to see us, and they were there from right at the start, which was cool because there weren't a lot of people at the beginning, so it was nice to have somebody kind of on our team at the beginning of the show. And she was requesting some of our songs specifically, and that was definitely very cool, and ended up dancing a lot throughout the whole night and just having a good old time. And that definitely brought all of our moods up. We were happy to see that for sure. And then, throughout the night, we had more and more people kind of come that we knew, which was definitely cool. We had a full table of people kind of in the back, and then a couple other people that we know. So, and then there were some random people throughout the night as well, and that just was an overall good night. I think we sounded pretty good. And then having Wolf come and fill in the breaks, it's always fun to have somebody else there to kind of take a little bit of the pressure off you, and then you can kind of, if you enjoy their music too, it kind of amps up, yours, because you're like, you get in a better mood, listen to them, more excited about playing. And he's actually going to come and do our show this Saturday night, so that should be interesting. So anyway, that was a definite fun show, and definitely one for the books. I think that's our last Braize show of the summer. So And then Sunday was the Labor Day shindig. We call it Casarroo because the guy who puts it on. His last name is Cassidy, and it's usually kind of a big event. This year was a little bit smaller, and I had gotten a band to come and play from Bloomington called Hot Sauce Universe, but they ended up and had some. The main singer had her wisdom teeth out, and she was having dry sockets real bad, I guess. So she ended up and couldn't make it, which it was a last minute thing anyway, so it wasn't like a huge deal, but it kind of put a little bit of a damper on the evening, I think. But that was fine. I got there super early, set a bunch of stuff up. Kyle Yap played as well, and he's always great, and he's just kind of a fun guy to. Kind of, he makes fun of me, I make fun of him kind of before the show, and it kind of eases us a little bit, and he's a great musician, so he was playing, and I was pretty much setting my stuff up, and he was like, yeah, you can just kind of do it while I'm playing, and he played for a good, I don't know, it was probably 2.5 hours, and his kids were there, which were pretty adorable. And, his whole family and everything. And so I was setting everything up pretty much. I got there at, I want to say like 4 or 5 p.m., and I didn't stop doing things till 3 a.m. So it was a pretty busy thing. It was nice to be able to do it at like my own casual pace. I probably brought a little too much stuff. Lo and Dave both played with me on this show. They played with me at Braize too. I didn't mention that, but they were there, and I did foot drums on that show as well. But this one, they were there, and I did foot drums. It was a very full setup, and it was fun. I mean, it took me a long time to get everything kind of dialed in, and it seemed like the crowd was a little bit on the sleepy side when we started, which was. Everybody's kind of sitting. I saw a lot of people yawning before we even went up there and played. We probably went on around 9 or so I guess that's why. But, good food, good people. And after kind of all the people that were there that were the ones probably yawning, and everybody else kind of took over the crowd a little bit. It wasn't a big crowd, but it was like, dancing and singing and having fun. And I pretty much, after a certain point, was just like trying to play weirder stuff from, I don't know. I was playing like really old covers that I hadn't done in a long time just to try them, just to see, how they were working. And I felt like I was performing well enough to just kind of wing some stuff, and I definitely did that. Sound was a little weird. I don't know what it was really. And the moisture after about 10 or 11, I don't know even when we stopped really, because it's one of the nice things. I said this that night, but this is one of the nice things about doing shows is I put down my phone, and like I said, I was there from like 5 to 3 a.m. doing stuff. So after about 7 o'clock, I didn't look at my phone again. So, it's nice to just get a break from that, I guess. But anyway, so not having the phone for a long time, I had no idea what time it was, and everything just got super moist. I ended up and broke strings on both guitars that I'd brought, and I didn't have any spares, so I kind of let that dictate the end of the show. And so I started tearing stuff down, and everything is just like sopping wet almost, because of the humidity. And got everything put away by, like I said, 3 a.m. And then one of our good friends brought out a guitar and was playing, and he playing and singing and stuff. So he kind of entertained us for a bit, and then of course I, at some point, got commandeered to take over the guitar, and then of course I couldn't put it down. So, and we just played music all night, really. That's why my voice is still hoarse. So that might have been more fun than the actual show part, was just jamming with everybody after. Everybody was singing along, and, if somebody knew a song, they would do it, and then if I knew a song, I would try it, and just kind of, there was maybe 7 people, and we stayed up till about sunrise, so still recovering on that front. sleep-wise as well. So if I don't sound very animated, that might be why. Yeah, so it was a good weekend of shows. The Braize and the Labor Day ones were definitely the highlight. I think the after show, the after party of the Labor Day one was maybe the very highest of lights. But yeah, so it was a good weekend. This next weekend we only have one show. It is Lo's birthday on Sunday, so I didn't plan anything. I had a show booked on Saturday, but that ended up canceled. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna even rebook a show. And then I had this opportunity come up, and I know I'm gonna be low on money, so I asked Lo if she would care, and she said no. So we're gonna end up and be playing at the Twisted Spoke Saloon, I believe is the name, in Pekin. It's our first time over there. And I've tried to book stuff there in the past a little bit. I've sent messages out here and there, but they book really far in advance, and they have a ton of bands they're used to having. So they just needed somebody kind of in a pinch, and so that's the only show this coming weekend. It's a 4-hour set, and like I said earlier, Wolf is going to be coming and performing during our breaks. It's a full setup, me, Lo, and Dave. So that is what I'm going to be talking about next week. And hopefully that pod documentary, the pod doc from our Colorado tour, will be coming out hopefully sometime in the next month. I don't really know necessarily exactly when, but just a matter of how much time I have and how much time I put into it, but hopefully it won't be too long. So that'll be something to look forward to. I also did get the final version of the Riot Red song done. So that was the one I was having the guy in Peoria that I know real well remix and master, and I think it's finally to the point where I can release it. So once I have a little bit of money to that, or money for that, I'm going to be putting that out, and I got a music video started for that, so I'm hoping to finish that before too long as well, and just go from there, I guess. So anyway, I appreciate anybody who takes the time to listen, and the podcast should be a little bit more consistent for the upcoming weeks. So anyway, thanks. Have a good rest of your week.